Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at a dark barrier that protects all Fu Youth Dogidogi Fully Absorbed. Now Fu is a time traveler's lead of 130%, greatly raises attack permanently whilst greatly raising defense for one turn, and causes supreme damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy. He has key +2, attack and defense of 150%, and then he has an additional attack and defense of 50% and chance of performing a critical hit per 20% per crossover or time travelers category units. He has an additional attack and defense of 100% when performing a super, and he launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack. He launches another additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack, and reduces damage received by 20% when there's another extreme class ally attacking in the same turn, or when there is a super class enemy. He has a chance of performing a crit plus 20% up to 40%, and reduces damage received by 20% up to 40% within the same turn with each super attack performed. He has a high chance of changing all key spheres to AGL and Tech key spheres starting from the 5th turn from the start of battle, and it will only occur once only. He has Demonic Power, Brainiacs, Cold Judgment, Big Bad Bosses, Godly Power, Fear and Faith, and Fierce Battle as his links. Auxiliary Battle, Battle of Wits, Crossover, Demonic Power, Dragon Ball Heroes, Power Absorption, Realm of the Gods, Time Travelers, Transformation Boost, and Youth as his categories. Overall, in terms of how you'd build him, I would build him majority additional. We'll talk about that just now. But mainly you're going to want to have him sitting as an additional unit. He has 40% crit chance per crossover time travelers category ally attacking in the same turn, and he does not exclude himself. He also has, on top of that, 2 chances of additionals, and he gets 20% crit chance up to 40% with each attack performed. So at the bare minimum, you're looking between a 60 to 80% crit chance by the time of his final attack. If you fire an additional super attack, or have a high chance of that, you basically give him a huge premise for big time damage. You also allow him to stack his attack faster, and by stacking attack he really can do an excellent job, as he can dish out a ton of damage. Where he's really good is as a second slot unit, as a surprise to no one. With 2 additional supers, big additional attack and defense on super, potentially 60% damage reduction after all of his supers are done, and also greatly raising his defense so much, Fu can be incredibly tanky after super, but on top of that can do really big damage. He can build himself all the way up to over 10 million supers quite quickly with Big Bad Bosses active at 55%, with a pretty high chance of critting on all of those, whilst also dealing 3 to 4 super attacks in a turn if you can get his hidden potential system to proc. At a rainbow level, this guy probably gets close to the 20 mil mark, can fire up to multiple super attacks, stacking that attack very big. Me personally, I would focus almost entirely on additional. You can maybe slot in evasion with what's left if you want to give him even more defensive boosts, and maybe protect him a little bit against AoEs. His start turn defense is around 200k, with his most important links active. A rainbow unit with Big Bad Bosses at level 10 probably breaks the 300k mark with a defensive equip, but I will say, it is debatable whether you think that's enough. 300k start turn defense turns into well above 1 million defense after his multiple super attacks, but the big thing is the damage reduction. Having only started turn 20%, scaling all the way up to 60% with the big increase in defense means that he traditionally, after supers, is very strong defensively. Not to mention, he links up really well with Dark King Demigra. Having Big Bad Bosses and Brainiacs, he's in a pretty good position. Cold Judgment's his only other crucial link, and although it is a great link, you don't have to have it if you've got Brainiacs and Big Bad Bosses. His perfect linking partner is Dark King Fu, who is actually a pretty good unit, all things considered. I think Dark King Fu is pretty solid, like overall. I think he's a really good unit, and yeah, he's got his limitations, but I think, I think he could be really solid. Like, I think, depends on your dupes. He is an older heroes unit, but I think he could be really solid. He does a lot as well, with him giving extreme class allies support, and with the fact that he also has additional evasion chance with each strength and rainbow sphere collected. So he can be incredibly evasive and incredibly strong and give good support to Fu as well. Obviously they share a very decent level of links with every single link, so he could be a good floating support, provided you obviously have the dupes. All in all, I think Fu is in a really strong position as a unit. I think he does a lot of stuff really well, and I think he's a really cool second slot unit. I would be more worried about him being a second slot unit if they didn't introduce the incredibly powerful first slot tank Demigra Dark King for the Extreme team. So Dark King Demigra is a great first slot tank, shares amazing links with Fu, and the two of them make a really fun combination. So yeah, all in all, gonna be honest, I think Fu and I think all these units are pretty good. I do like the extreme version, but yeah, I think overall really good. So Fu, you want to prioritize obviously Big Red Bosses, Brainiacs, or Cold Judgment. Those three links are very big and very important. So you're going to need to consider getting those links to really have them kind of function properly. But with that being said, that is pretty much all you'll need to focus on. Big Red Bosses is probably the big one, and I think having it is probably most crucial to Fu.